Hey everyone, ToonySA here on the last Crash 3 Relic related video for the time being. I am going to be ranking my experience with the Crash 3 warped levels in comparison to how easy or difficult it was for me to defeat WumpaLewis on those levels. And just like before, the levels are going to be based on not only how difficult the Platinum Relic time actually was, but more so how difficult it was for me to actually beat Lewis on that level. So F is effortlessly easy, which was not effortless to say. D is dreadfully easy, but not effortless. C is I can't believe I had to waste my time doing that level. B is basically a bit more difficult. A is above average, and S is silly hard. Okay, so without further ado, Toad Village, effortlessly easy. Didn't have any trouble at all with that level. Nothing really to say about it. It's short and fast and easy. Under Pressure is going straight into D tier. It was a little bit more difficult than Toad Village, but it still only took a few attempts for me to beat Lewis on it, so it doesn't deserve to be anywhere higher than that. Orient Express. Now, if I was going for the dev time, this would be probably an S tier level if I was to rank this as a dev time. It was difficult, had a lot of fun on the level though. Beating Lewis though, dreadfully easy. Next up we've got Boneyard. Boneyard is like the first level where platforming actually comes into play boulder style. A little bit more difficult than the other levels so far, so I'm going to put that into C tier. Making Waves. Now, you're going to see a theme with these levels. I'm going to put this one into B tier. It was basically easy, but it was a bit more difficult than the other levels so far. It took more attempts than the other levels, probably combined. I don't remember, but those 4 levels I reckon I did in fewer attempts I should say, than Making Waves. Gee whiz, again this was a pretty easy level, but I recall that I was forgetting the Aku Aku thing. If I'd have got the Aku Aku thing first try, I probably would have done a lot better. So I'm going to put this into the D category, just behind Under Pressure. Hog Ride. Now this is a level that deserves to be up here if I didn't get lucky. I really, like, people said, wow, I can't believe you did that in so few tries. Luck. Pure luck. I went back, did 10 more attempts just to see if it was pure luck, and it was pure luck. But I still did technically beat Lewis relatively easy, so I'm going to put that into C tier. Hang 'em High, this was a pretty good challenge. I think this deserves to be in B tier. I had quite a lot of fun on that level, but it did take me a few attempts to beat Lewis on it. Tomb Time, equally so. I'm going to put Tomb Time behind Hang 'em High. I think I found Tomb Time a little bit easier than Hang 'em High, but still a fun level. Midnight Run. Now this was a bit more difficult than Orient Express, but more so due to my incompetence rather than Lewis's time being exceptionally well, but it was still enough to probably put it into C tier, and it probably gave me more trouble than the other 2 levels in C tier there, so I'm going to put that at the top of C tier. Dynamite. I actually had quite a frustrating experience with Dynamite. I thought this would be a breeze, but I kept dying to the lava towards the end, and so I think this deserves to be in B tier, probably in second position behind Making Waves. Deep Trouble, I don't remember much about this level. It kind of all blends into one because there's so many levels that match themes in this game. But I think it was definitely harder than Under Pressure, but I don't think it was super much. I don't think it was like super harder. I think I did it in fewer than 10 attempts. So I'm going to put it just behind Boneyard. High Time. These levels did start to give me a bit more trouble around this mark. It's really hard to remember which one's which because they all blend into one, but from what I recall, I had a decently challenging experience on a High Time. I don't remember if it was easier or harder than Hang 'em High though, so I'm going to put that one here, but they could be interchangeable. They were very similar experiences from what I recall. Maybe High Time was a little bit harder or it was a little bit easier. It was one of the two. I was either going into the level with the mindset this is a little bit harder or this was a little bit easier, but I just can't remember which way around it was. Road Crash, this caused me problems. That's going into A tier. I had an annoying experience with Road Crash, not least because you have to wait a minute for all of the races to go around the track, which is completely not fun. Double Header. I don't think it took me that long to get a handle on Double Header, so I'm just going to put it next to Gee Whiz. I think all 3 of those levels I would regard as pretty easy. If I recall correctly, that was the level where I had to drink shots, and I was going for a faster time in the end. And usually if I'm willing to go for a faster time, to the extent I did in Doubleheader, it's because the level itself wasn't very challenging. Sphinxinator, oh yeah, this one is also up in A tier. Did I have a harder time with Sphinxinator or Road Crash? That is a good question. I think Road Crash, because of the poor controls, edges it, but Sphinxinator did give me a lot of challenges because of the timing of the doors. I just couldn't get it down, but once I did get that one lucky cycle, it wasn't like the level itself was difficult, it was like that one cycle. Getting it right consistently was difficult. Bye Bye Blimps, yeah, I did have to look up a Jack Cornish tutorial to get through this one, and if I have to look up a tutorial to see how to do something, I'm going to have to put that probably into S tier. I wasn't doing so well, and I just kind of got bored, so I went to take a look at a way to do it faster, just because I don't like the levels. But yeah, that's probably enough to put into S tier. Tell No Tales, that's also going to be top end. Ooh. You see, I've probably put myself in a dilemma here, because if I put Bye Bye Blimps there, it didn't take me a crazy amount of attempts, but it did take me looking up a tutorial. So I guess maybe it doesn't deserve S tier, maybe it deserves here in A tier, top end A tier. So yeah, because I want to put Tell No Tales in S tier because I had a lot of issues getting that relic, especially because the seagull kept messing up my hair, man. I mean, look at this shit. Not fair. Future Frenzy wasn't that difficult once I figured it out, but it's probably harder than those levels down here. Probably harder than those levels. So I'm going to put it here, just ahead of Boneyard. I don't remember distinctly having super hard issues with that level though. Tomb Raider was a difficult level with a difficult time from Lewis, but it was also a hell of a lot of fun. But being fun doesn't discount it from being a difficult level. I'm probably going to put it here, next to... just ahead of Dynamite. I believe it took me more attempts than Dynamite to do. Weirdly easier than Sphinxinator. I thought I was going to have a much harder time with that level with the whole up and down water stuff. Gone Tomorrow, I did have a few more issues with this level. It took me quite a few attempts to beat Lewis. Probably one of his harder ones. So I think that deserves to be up in the top of A tier. Orange Asphalt wasn't really too much of an issue, but it was probably mid-tier. Was it easier or harder than Road Crash? Probably easier, so I'm going to put that at the end of B tier. Flaming Passion. Now, on camera, I beat it in relatively few attempts, but that discounted how long I took when my recording wasn't working properly. So yeah, Flaming Passion, I think that has to go into S tier. That was a really tough time until I finally overcame it. Mad Bombers, also like Bye Bye Blimps, I ended up looking up a tutorial, and the tutorial didn't even end up working. So, Mad Bombers, top end A tier. Bug Lights, pretty easy, B tier, probably low end B tier. Yeah, wasn't super hard to be honest. A couple of dodgy door cycles, but other than that, it wasn't really that bad. Ski Crazed, that's going straight to S tier at the top. Ski Crazed, it deserves it. I had a really, really long session on Ski Crazed alone, probably 50% longer than Tell No Tales was. Flaming Passion probably took me longer, to be honest, but rather than Lewis's time being the issue, it's just me getting frustrated with Flaming Passion. You know, just dying to really stupid things when I look back. If you look at the montage, most of the deaths are me just falling down the same hole. Ski Crazed, though, that was just difficult. Like, I actually, you know, I don't think I could refresh and do Ski Crazed and beat it in, like, 10 minutes like I did with Flaming Passion. Area 51, decently challenging, probably the most challenging out of the motorbike levels, I think. So I don't remember if it was harder than Road Crash or not, but I believe it was. So I'm going to put it here. Rings of Power, S tier. Wow, Warped actually has more S tier levels, I think, than the original, which surprises me. Rings of Power, again, I ended up watching a tutorial. Did it take me the same amount of time as Ski Crazed or longer? Would I rather sit down and do Ski Crazed again or Rings of Power? Probably I'd rather do Ski Crazed, to be honest. So I'm going to put Rings of Power at the top. Hot Cocoa. Ski Crazed. It's going to be I think I took longer on Hot Cocoa than Ski Craze, but I don't think I took as long as Rings of Power. But I think I had more issues on Hot Cocoa, excluding the way I like exploited the ending. That obviously was super easy, I got that first try. But doing it legitimately, Lewis put out a really solid time for that one. Oedipus Rex, that was definitely in the effortless category. Didn't really take me long at all. And then, yeah, Future Tense. One more thing I will say about Oedipus Rex is that it was a bit of a disappointment. I was really excited to try that level when I heard about it, because I'd never played it before. I knew it existed, but I just never played it before, didn't know much about it. It was a really straightforward and kind of boring level, to be honest. It needed to go on a bit longer and have a few more interactions with the environment for it to be interesting. Future Tense, was it difficult? Yeah, I spent like an hour on Future Tense, I think, and then I got Lewis's time completely wrong, which kind of messed me up. It's probably just above Tell No Tales in terms of difficulty, I would say. Weird, right? I nearly had 4 vehicle levels in a row. That's why I'm not very good at CTR, and Lewis is the king of CTR. I'm just not really that good at vehicle levels. So there you have it. Those are my picks for the most difficult to easiest relics that I felt from memory. It was pretty hard to... It was really weird. I can remember every experience on Crash 1's levels and every experience on Crash 2's levels. I don't know what it was about Crash Warped. I really enjoyed it, but all the experiences kind of blended into one. It's hard to explain. The only outliers were like Rings of Power and levels like that, where they're so different to the other levels, where I can clearly remember that experience. But a lot of the time, the level times weren't super difficult. So this is the bonus part where I put my 5 favorite levels to do from Warped, competing with Lewis, versus my 5 least favorite in F. Now, funnily enough, pretty much all of the most difficult levels are going straight to F as my least favorite in the exact same order that they appear in. Except Future Tense. I had a great time on Future Tense. It was a really well-designed level. It was like Stormy Ascent light, but I'd argue it's like 80% easier than Stormy Ascent, but it was like, it had that vibe to it, that length, the spinning platforms, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, that's going out for now, and I'm going to put Road Crash in. It's my least favorite motorbike to do casually, and it was my least favorite motorbike level to do as a relic, and so there are the 5. You can clearly see 5 vehicle levels again, feature in my least favorite part. Now for my favorite relics. This is a bit more of a challenge. Now I'm actually going to bring Future Tense back into S tier. I had a lot of fun with Future Tense. It was the right level of challenge and fun. There was just only a couple of annoying things in the level that frustrated me, but to get through it in an hour on the hardest level, I think it was a great way to end the challenge. I wish Stormy Ascent was that kind of area of difficulty. Next up, I think I'm going to put in Tomb Wader, and I'm going to put Tomb Wader ahead of Future Tense. I had a lot more fun in Tomb Wader than Future Tense. I really enjoyed trying to improve my time on that level, so that's going to go up there. I'm also going to add Double Header. Now, I did have the bonus of getting to drink while playing that level, which added to the enjoyment, funnily enough. It also added to the frustration. But I did remember waking up the next day thinking I had a pretty good time overall with Double Header. So I think that's going to be my 3rd slot. Next up, I'm going to go with Tomb Time. Tomb Time was pleasantly challenging, but also a really fun level. It doesn't overstay its welcome, and I also had a great time trying to improve my time on that level. I never imagined that I would have 2 Tomb levels inside of my top 4, but here we are. And finally, in number 1, this may surprise people, but I'm going to put Orient Express as my favorite level to play on that game. Orient Express was so fun that I even made a bonus video just mocking the glitch that I encountered. That's a testament for me enjoying it. It's also the level out of all of them that I put the most effort into to beat the dev. So I put in like hours and hours of attempts on Orient Express just to beat the dev. And I wouldn't really do that unless I enjoyed the level a lot. So for me, it feels like Orient Express has to be at number 1. And for one last bonus image, I'm going to leave you with this image. And in this image, you will see from the beginning to the end, when I look back at the time I had on the 3 games, from S tier to F tier, what levels I enjoyed the most, down to the levels that I look back and enjoyed the least. And it's not the same as it was when I did the retrospectives on Crash 1 and Crash 2, because obviously time is an unusual thing. You look back and you remember things a little bit differently than how you necessarily experienced them at the time. But yeah, that is the end of this episode. The next video or 2 will be me finishing up Crash 3 Warped, and then we'll be moving on to the Wrath of Cortex. See you there.